Hi, welcome to Overheard on Social by the Go Agency, the podcast that explores social media marketing tips, influencer marketing news, pop culture, and interesting chats with interesting people, but without taking itself too seriously. I'm Jo, I'm here with my co-host Matt, and today we're taking a deep dive into creator and influencer marketing on YouTube. So to help us get a bit of a more detailed understanding, we're joined by Chris Mills, Senior Social Enablement Lead at Google. Chris, do you want to give a bit of an intro to yourself and your career so far?
Yeah, great. Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me here today. Really excited about this. It's going to be good hour running through everything, I hope. So I guess my background, I've worked across press, I've worked with TV, and for the last 10 years, I've been working at Google, very much focused on working with agencies and partners, and obviously working with a partnership we have with Goat. And a lot of my role as from a social enablement perspective is to really help agencies get the best out of YouTube. And that is really kind of ensuring that we are supporting with all of the social and influencer capabilities that we've got. And it's such a fast paced area of our business right now. Hence why our partnership is so important to ensure that we're bringing that to life.
Yeah.
Can I ask Google, what is it like to work there? Can you talk about some of the perks that you have? There's all these myths about crazy stuff that goes on.
Slides in the office and
ball pits, massage rooms. And if someone comes up to you at work and doesn't know how to do something, do you tell them to just Google it?
I think that the office space is pretty cool, right? I've been very fortunate enough to go to many offices around the world, and I'd say, yeah, there's lots of different perks, should we say? Yeah, there's lots of
King's Cross, the London.
So
one?
I'm based in Central St Giles, which is the Tottenham Court Road office, but there is also King's Cross, and there's some other buildings across London as well. So yeah, I think from that side of it, it's a pretty cool space for sure, and that attracts me to come to the office and spend some time there with colleagues, of course. But I'd say I guess the main bulk of your question, Matt, would be for me, considering I've been there for 10 years, I'd say is the innovation. Generally, I've seen so much change from the point where when I first started, it was all about mobile and consumers and users really interacting with video on their mobile. And that was a big deal at the time. Now we're in the era of AI, and that is very exciting. Very exciting.
That was the word, not scary.
No, it's exciting. It's exciting. So it's exciting in the fact of how you use AI. And I think that's what I can talk more about for sure for in the podcast. But that is something I've seen us go on a huge journey with, and obviously embracing the power of AI right now. But also it's looking at the advancements with Gemini, but also so many different parts of Google, right? We've got Waymo, self-driverless cars. Did you know about that? We're doing over 200,000 drives a day, I believe, at the moment. I think that's the right stat for that. Then we have Google X, which is all about our moonshot projects and going above and beyond. And for me, that's the stuff at Google is super cool, right? This is the stuff that really embraces the power of what Google stands for. So yeah.
I don't want to labour it too much, but can you just tell me, what does it feel like to work for, it's not a company, it's it's something bigger than that. It's they're doing all these amazing things. Do you feel kind of
it's like a world changer.
It's a world changer,
yeah. Do you know what, actually? I had a bit of a moment the other day. I was very fortunate enough to go to the Sidemen versus YouTube All-Stars charity match. And I was walking down Wembley Way, and I kind of have that kind of aha moment of just wow, this is incredible. 90,000 people walking into Wembley Stadium, a sold out stadium, just to purely go and watch their favorite YouTube creators. That was oh wow, this is massive. And sometimes, when you're in the office and you're kind of working on your daily vibes, you're kind of caught in your moment to kind of deliver on the outcome that you're there to do. And there are definitely moments when you're kind of just I had it the other day actually with my dad. My dad never used Gemini and used AI. Yeah. And I was helping him write some reviews, and he was just he couldn't stop talking about it for about hours. He was blown away. So that was really exciting to see. So yeah.
What would be your advice for people if they wanted to work in Google in future? I know earlier we were talking about you going to speak at your old school and things. Because it can seem a little bit
impenetrable.
Yeah, sort of. I think a lot of people would think, oh God, Google, you've got to be a genius to work there, and you have to have gone to sort of Harvard or Cambridge or something. Is that the reality, or would you say actually no?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, personally speaking, I don't have a degree. My education is relatively limited, to be honest. But I guess from my perspective, just work hard, study, learn, understand the trade that you're kind of leaning into. But I think also just always believe that anything's possible. I think that's definitely something that you have to reach for the stars and believe that you can do it, and have a great mentor, make sure you have a great network around you. And I think as well, just lean into the opportunities that exist. You never know what your path is. And I think that's my journey. Genuinely, I didn't know I'd end up sitting here and representing Google. And I think that is something that you just kind of follow that path. And I think just embrace those changes and embrace those moments, lean into change. And I think that's probably the best bit of advice, I'd say.
Okay, so moving on to YouTube more specifically. Firstly, to kick off, Matt, what is the last thing you
I'm just pulling
watched
up
on
my
YouTube?
search history. I knew this was coming.
Oh, God. I'm a little concerned here.
Mucus cough. Mucus cough after 1 week of flu. Trump Gaza.
No, wait,
Go
is
agency.
this, did you look
Sorry,
at this
what
up
was
on
the question?
YouTube or on Google?
Oh, and is this my Google search history?
No, your YouTube.
This was my YouTube search history.
You looked up mucus cough on
Yes.
YouTube. Oh.
So I like YouTube is my primary platform that I use. I love
Okay.
it. I go to it religiously. I always have. I think as a creator as well. Like I've posted on YouTube. Nikocado avocado. Are you familiar with?
I'm not actually.
Which is I love, because as someone that works at Google with YouTube, can I say at YouTube?
Yeah.
Works at as someone
For YouTube.
as someone that works for YouTube, to not know a creator like Nikocado avocado, of course you're not going to know, because there's hundreds of thousands of creators. He's massive. I just suggest to looking him up.
What kind of content does he do?
He got morbidly obese and then has reversed his obesity, and it's just sent the internet into a wild sort of...
Through avocados?
No, that's just his
Okay.
handle.
That's
It's
just his
very
name.
confusing. Shall I just run you through my top search history?
Yeah.
Serena Williams, Vox, Honora.
Oh, great film.
I'm obsessed with film trailers and reviews. The cough thing. Wall Street Journal, great channel.
Yep.
Wallace and Gromit, British institution. Trump Gaza, Go Agency, Baldwin wife accent. The Baldwins trailer. The Baldwins. Hailey Baldwin.
I've heard about the wife's accent.
Yeah, I apparently it's changed. Musk father interview, Faroe Island, singular, and then Wallace and Gromit again.
Wow.
So a variety
Interesting.
there.
But I think that is a good leading on to my question of what would you guys say? What is YouTube? Is it a social media platform? Is it entertainment? Is it a search platform? Is it all three? How would you kind of define it?
So I mean,
You're going to give us a PR answer.
Huh?
You're going to give us a PR answer.
I'm going to give you the right answer.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Which, look, I think YouTube is at a point where there is nothing like it out there. There is only one YouTube, right? As you just said, Matt, is the bread and butter. It's the DNA of what you use as a creator. And I think that's something we're seeing. It's where we're seeing billions of users turn to YouTube every day intentionally to watch the content that they love specific to their passion point. I think we can all recognize YouTube isn't the place where you go for mindless scrolling. It's
intentional.
It's intentional. And that's exactly the point I'm trying to land here, is that you are turning to YouTube to watch content. And that has been the case for 20 years. We see that from the first moment. Actually, do you know who Jawed Karim is?
One of the founders.
Yes.
I'm a YouTube fanboy.
Oh, you really are.
Elephant, my day at the zoo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was going to be my point. It was that was the first video that went on YouTube 20 years ago. And you look at the journey that we've come on there, it's quite incredible.
Yeah.
I actually think that you can chart human innovation just through YouTube. That video to now we've got feature length film. The technological sort of arc is incredible.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Imagine being that person who put that elephant video up. You're a moment in history, and it was probably just didn't know what they were doing.
That's an
but
inflection
also
point.
hugely innovative, because if you're the first person to do something, that's pretty incredible.
Just like we're going to be the first people to do a
What are you
podcast
gonna
with
say?
1,000 people, 2 rows, 500 on this side, 500 on this side. They'll remember us in history.
Yeah.
Your ambitions
sure.
of this Guinness Book of World, Book of Records podcast. I'm loving it.
Yeah, but so because for me it's almost like it's definitely the intentional thing of that when I go to YouTube, I'm going with the intentional view of I'm either searching for something specific, like the Anora trailer or the Baldwins or something, or I am wanting to watch like a specific creator or channel or something that I subscribe to or I follow and I keep up with. But so it's quite hard to define it, because I do think like we are like social first influencer agency, and YouTube is always like under the banner of social media. Like I think that's how people perceive it, but it isn't really the same. But then maybe that's social media as a whole has kind of evolved out of just social networking, hasn't it?
Massively. I think the definition of social media is evolving very quickly. But I think, going back to YouTube's core DNA of creators, video content, the intent of going to watch content is exactly what it stands for. And that's not changed for 20 years, right? So I think from our perspective, it's how we continue to innovate and lean into that is where you'll see the best of YouTube.
Can I make a point on, I don't know whether this is just because I have an affinity with the platform and I think about it positively, but I think if you were to ask 100 people, social media, net negative or net positive on your life, you'd probably get a range. But I think if you ask 100 people, YouTube, net positive or net negative, 99% of people would say net positive. It's educational, it's an amazing resource, it's like just at a fundamental level, it's a database of human, want to learn how to plaster a wall, YouTube.
Yeah, the amount of times that I have used it when like we moved into rented flats and it would be like a different washing machine or something, or something that you haven't used before, and I would like go on YouTube to be like, how do I fix this boiler that's broken or something, and it will give you a video, which is just incredible. So yeah, I agree. I think YouTube is quite it's sort of less problematic, I'd say.
I think like because it's long form as well, the reactive nature of people when they're watching a 1-minute video, that they'll go, you're a twat, because you're sitting down to watch 30, 40, 50, 1 hour minute videos. I think that connection leads people to be a little bit more balanced and a little bit more fair. It feels less like a cesspool. Yeah.
Although, how do you think it's evolved on YouTube then? Like the content, the way people that are using it as a platform, the types of content that people are engaging with, the way they're engaging with it, how has that sort of evolved over the last 5-10 years?
I think, look, we've seen so much change. I know we spoke about the journey over the last 20 years. If we look just more at kind of the last 5 years, I guess some of the things that I've seen specifically, I think to your point, Matt, you were talking about long form. We're also in an era where short form is also incredibly large on YouTube. 70
Shorts.
billion daily views. We're getting a phenomenal amount of creators now utilizing shorts as part of their strategy alongside long form. So we're seeing that synergy between the two. So that's a really exciting area for us right now, is the rise of short form and that connection to long form. So that's exciting creators. But that's a kind of user consumption and a user behavior that we're seeing on the uptrend for sure. The other thing that we've seen in particular over the last 5 years, this isn't going to be a huge surprise, but is CTV. The usage and connected TV, Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah, mere micronyms. But connected TV is massive, right? There's not many TV screens out there that don't have the YouTube app on them now, and I think that is something that everyone is leaning into.
But connected TV is that now. Do you think it's kind of going to rival TV in a way? Because I think I read that last year connected TV had more streaming than Netflix and Disney Plus,
which is huge.
Yeah,
it's absolutely huge. And I think what's driving that is actually creators. Creators are creating genuinely like amazingly like high quality production value content.
Are you thinking about the stuff that I make?
Of course, Matt, of course. And that is a huge part of the trend, right? Is that your users across the globe are finding their creators they have an affinity to, they love their interests, they're building that community and loving that, and feel that they're able to sit back and watch 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes worth of content because it's high production, it's speaking to something they're interested in. It goes back to that intention piece we were speaking to about earlier on. I think that's incredibly valuable while we're seeing that connection there. I guess that's kind of building on to the breadth of content we're seeing on the platform as well. There's such a vast range of, you were speaking about finding plumbers and plastering right through to some of the stuff you've been watching. Like, there is such a range of content out there, and there is something for everyone. And I think that's what makes the platform so valuable, but also something we're seeing, creators really embrace at the moment is how to connect with their communities, recognizing the journey that you need to go on to build trust and authenticity. We see a study recently, I believe this was with Ipsos, but 98% of those that were surveyed said they trust YouTube creators more versus other social platforms. Probably goes,
I can believe that.
Yeah, and I think that trust and authenticity piece is something that's so important and has that connection to the breadth of content as well. And I guess if we're talking back to your question, Joe, about the evolution, I'd say one of the things that I think was announced only last week or the week before last, but we are seeing 1 billion monthly podcast users on YouTube now.
Wow.
So I hope this is going on YouTube, right?
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. Yeah.
I was going to say, no, it's going on Rival, but I couldn't think. I don't know if you have a rival.
Probably not. No.
Well, I'd say, look,
we won't mention them here.
Yeah.
But it's that diversification of content which is really exciting us. And then I could not talk about AI, of course, but that's something that we're seeing rapidly advance in our products. I'm sure you're all both users of YouTube Shorts and recognize the kind of green screen kind of product that we've got there. But what we've now got is we're at the integration of Google DeepMind's VO2 model. So what we're able to do is help with a text prompt and help you then create an image based off the brief that you've put into Shorts. Incredibly advanced technology, which is embracing YouTube Shorts. And I would say, look, expect to see more of this, but expect to see AI really kind of enhance the user experience and then very much kind of enhance that creativity as well. So we're going to see much more of this type of stuff come through, but it's really exciting.
Creators dream, time to live in, I think. When you're told to be grateful, if you've ever done any meditating, I will sit there and I'll be like, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for YouTube because, it's free.
Yeah.
This is democratizing, content. I think that it's interesting that the bridge between content creators and Netflix and streaming, it is closing. You're getting creators opening up studio spaces, making feature-length films.
Yeah.
It's incredible. But can I quickly, I'll make this quick. You're commissioning shows on TV. Is the genius of YouTube not that, you guys, to some extent, are sitting back and just letting these creators, do their thing? And obviously, you are supporting them in whatever ways you need to. But, they are the ones that are bringing the fresh ideas onto the platform and you're facilitating it. It's not that you're having to go and commission chicken shop dates. These, if you make it a place that people want to come, the gold will not naturally rise to the top, and then more will proliferate. Is that right? You're looking at me like I'm wrong.
No, I think what YouTube is a platform, right? We are a platform, a video platform, and we are able to support creators through multiple different reasons. There's lots of different can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but there are a number of studies to show the value that the creator economy is bringing to the UK. But also we have our YouTube partner program, which is massively there to support, and creators make money from YouTube, right? We are allowing them to become entrepreneurs. The Sidemen, Mr. Beast, Amelie de Moldenberg, these creators were able to use YouTube as a platform to the best of its capabilities to get the platform they have now. That's the way I would spin it around, is that there's so much potential. Obviously, there's hundreds of thousands of creators on our platform. And it's how you build that community, how you build that kind of content strategy to cut through. And that's why it's an amazing thing, right? Because anyone can be a content creator on YouTube.
Yeah, but I think on the kind of, as you were saying, of not necessarily that you guys have to just sit back and let creators create, but in a way that is kind of at GOAT what we sort of advise brands, in the way that the biggest challenge for brands nowadays is that you've got to create so much content and do it quickly to keep up with fast moving culture and social media. When I was first in marketing 10 years ago, we would put all our focus on one TV ad that came out every 4 months, and for 4 months you would just be working on that like 30-second ad, and that was it. And now that's kind of changed, and the fastest way to create good content is through creators, I guess. So if you could kind of summarize in a couple of sentences, like, why should brands be prioritizing their YouTube marketing this year?
So I think YouTube offers, such a powerful opportunity to target your audience, build brand awareness, drive conversions, and ultimately throughout the funnel, you've got a huge opportunity. When you combine that with the power of influencer creator content, add that on top with all of the capabilities that we've got at YouTube to deliver on those objectives I just spoke about, there's so much opportunity. And I think that's what's really exciting me right now is the two coming together, and the capabilities we've got with brands really utilizing influencer content. Yeah.
There's kind of no other platform that has so many uses. And
I think at this point we've got to disclaim that we haven't been paid by YouTube.
No, we just genuinely really like YouTube. But that's maybe a good way to move on to kind of creators a bit more focused. So how have creator partnerships themselves evolved on YouTube?
I think on YouTube, they're evolving very quickly. And I think, to be honest, in the whole ecosystem, they're evolving. If we look at the journey that we've been on, if we rewind 20 years ago, it was a bit more tricky then, right? We had lots of user-generated content. Ultimately, creators were speaking to a camera, most likely in their bedrooms at home. And
what's up, guys?
Yes,
it's Matt back
was that
with another.
you?
Yeah, it was.
So there was lots of that content. I think ultimately, back then, marketers and brands around the world we were going through a transitional period as we're in the marketing industry of like, how do you connect with audiences? And we were engaging now differently in the way that we're watching content, the way that we're behaving with content, and leaning into it. So I think it was a difficult start for the industry to kind of really understand, how do we create the right kind of creator partnerships? I think when you evolve that now with influencer partnerships and creator partnerships as they're much more sophisticated now.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're seeing much better produced content on our platform. Marketers are really understanding the benefit of influencer and creator marketing. I think we're seeing that, and you have many reports that kind of validate that as well. And also we're seeing the maturity of the creator and influencer ecosystem. Just look, there's so many agencies, partners, creator technology out there in the market that exists now. It's a wealth of.
I don't think there are other agencies.
There's no other agencies. Just go. And I think that ultimately creates a very exciting ecosystem that we're all part of. And I think one of the things that's really exciting, we're talking about creator partnerships and the evolution. For me, going back to what I spoke about earlier on, was actually the Sidemen event at Wembley Stadium last week.
Yeah, can you tell us a bit about that, actually, just for listeners who might not be aware of it?
Yeah, so Sidemen are a group of creators that ultimately creating all the different kind of niches of content. They're a group of friends that have been creating content on our platform for numerous years, multi-million subscribers across the world, huge fan base. They have been, for the last few years, hosting a charity football match, raising lots of money for charities. And it's an amazing opportunity to really harness the value of communities and the value of YouTube creators as well. And they set up this football match basically against YouTube All-Stars. So the likes of Logan Paul, Mr. Beast, iShowSpeed. There was loads of creators that are part of this kind of what has been ultimately now a phenomenon. It's become genuinely part of the annual calendar for creators. And so on 8th of March, a few weeks ago, 90,000 tickets. Crazy. It was sold out in 3 hours.
That's insane.
Like genuinely, that is like Oasis, Beyonce levels. It was incredible. And I think again, back to your question about creator partnerships, they raised 4.7 million for charity, which is incredible. And have gone on to get, I think it's over 18 million views already for their live stream, 10 million views for their highlights. These are just, the numbers I'm pulling out as of today, but it's genuinely incredible. And then they're working with brands, they're able to work with creators, and there's a whole ecosystem that kind of lives and breathes on the back of it. But I think that's what's really exciting is the journey that we've been on and where we're at right now. And it's super exciting to see where we're going.
Yeah.
I love that people would scoff at the idea of being like a content creator or a YouTuber, like back in the day. And kind of it feels like, look at them now, look what they're doing and what they're delivering. Like no one can sort of say that anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And in terms of the way we actually kind of partner with creators, I think especially on YouTube, you can maybe get a bit more deeper, like you said, with those partnerships. So whether it's like they're just, I guess, with it being long form as well and short form, the ability to have both, there's so many options. But yeah, what do you find are like the most effective ways maybe that brands can partner?
Oh, I definitely think you need to lean into long and short form.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what we're fostering, is like more creators are leaning into this kind of dual strategy of having the short form and long form work side by side. We're seeing a huge increase of creators using that. I think having long and short form in one platform is such a value, opportunity for creators to lean into. So that definitely is something that we would be talking about for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And what type of creator content do you think doesn't work? Like, do you think there's anything that brands kind of get wrong sometimes when they approach their creator partnerships?
Yeah, and this is something we've spoken about with Goat before, right? Is ultimately a challenge that we are trying to solve together, is making sure that there are no mismatched partnerships. The last thing a brand wants is to work with a creator where they don't connect with their kind of morals, they don't connect with their brand strategy, and that's something where, there are examples out there where it just hasn't worked. It just hasn't resonated. They've created content, it's not quite cut through. That's something that we have seen before. And I think as well, there are briefs and examples I've seen within the ecosystem, within the influencer ecosystem, where they've been told to sell a product, and it can come across quite forced, like over sales engagement. And I think sometimes that's a bit of a turn off for some people, where they just like feel like they're watching something, buy this product, and that doesn't always work.
Yeah, definitely. I used to watch I still watch occasionally a lot of like lifestyle vloggy type content, and I always think that works better when it's just like seamlessly integrated into the video, rather than it being like a dedicated, I'm gonna show you this mascara I use kind of thing, and it's all about that. When it's just sort of more naturally put into a video, that's the kind of content I kind of like. But
and it goes back to that authenticity piece I was talking about, and like creative freedom. Like, creators just want to do their thing. And I think there are examples out there where brands have come in with a very prescriptive brief. They want a creator to talk in a very specific way, and I've seen this on different panels and different events across the industry, right, where we need to make sure that creators are given that element of freedom as well to do what they're great at, and to speak to their audience in the way that they resonate. And that's ultimately why they've been chosen for the brand partnership in the first place. Why
do some brands make that mistake though? It seems like a really obvious thing. You've hired this, they either don't understand influencer marketing, or you've hired this influencer who has this engaged following. Like, you can give them guidelines and brief them, but like to overbrief them seems silly.
It does. And I think this is just a part of the learning process, right? This whole ecosystem is still growing and developing very fast. And I think as more marketers understand the kind of requirements and the importance of creative freedom, I think we'll naturally see that fizzle out. And I hope that will just be understood within the market that, let creators do their thing. That's what they're great at. And I think that's ultimately where, look, there will be brands out there for sure. And it is very important that a creator sticks within certain guidelines and sticks within that. And I think that's really important, to make sure that recognizing there's kind of two sides to the coin on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I think at Goat, we always kind of say, our job is to like not script, but to guide. So It's sort of working with the brand and the creators to be like, we'll create a brief where the creator knows what some of the key messages are that they want to land, anything that they should avoid. Because like you say, it's easy to say, oh, don't script, or don't let a creator be completely free. But if you're a bank, for example, like you can't do that. You've got to have some kind of guidelines in place. But I think it's about making that clear to the creator, making sure that they understand as well, but then working with them to be like, what would you do to kind of bring this product to life in your own special, unique way. And then in terms of creator campaigns from brands, then this might be one for you, Matt. Have you seen any brands that you think are doing really cool stuff on YouTube, or anything that sticks out?
I'm going to be more general. I really like it when I see a brand have their own channel that's like popping on YouTube, because I think it's it's great when they use creators and influencers, but when they've kind of committed to being consistent, putting out their own brand videos, I'm just like, that's kind of bold.
Yeah.
I actually see a short the other day, which is actually really cool. It was a creative partnership. It was in the US actually. It was Marcus Brownlee.
Yes.
Yeah. He does lots of tech reviews. I think he's got like 20 million subs. Worked with all the big kind of tech players in this world, and he ran a partnership with Best Buy, and it was a YouTube short. And what he was doing is showcasing the world's largest golf simulator. And it was amazing. Like genuinely, I just come across it.
Yeah.
And it was a 60-second piece of content, but the way he illustrated the world's largest golf simulator and then connected it back to Best Buy, super smart. Like I really liked that, and I've remembered it. I'm still talking about it now.
Exactly.
And it was entertaining. Genuinely, I was like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
It was in Vegas, so I was like, this looks amazing. But then I've also seen other examples where brands are, when we're talking about, creating your own channels and creating your own content.
Yeah.
I come across Sony PlayStation's one the other day, and I was like, this is again, a very different kind of way of leaning into creating your own content, but they've got so much around sharing reviews and advice on their own kind of PS5s and all the different platforms and products they've got, but also they've got so much about their new releases, so much about gaming. Like I was like, this is a brand that really is understanding how to utilize YouTube as a platform to create content, make it entertaining, make it relevant for their audience. And they've got a huge following on the back of it. I just think this is a huge opportunity for brands to lean into that, to be content creators themselves, and to speak ultimately to their customers and prospective customers in new and innovative ways. I think that's really exciting as well.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think is the main barrier for brands not being content creators? Because when I see that, some of these brands aren't doing that, and I just think like, you're missing such an easy opportunity. Kind of with Goat, right? We make our own content, and a lot of other agencies don't. And it kind of seems, I find it a bit confusing because it seems to be a net positive, right? Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
completely. Yeah.
Why aren't they making content?
Make more content. I don't think there's a kind of short answer to that one. I think the reality is that we are still on a journey where marketers are really understanding the value exchange here. And I think there's ultimately recognition more and more that there is a huge opportunity here. So I suspect to see more and more in this space.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, on the topic of like influencer marketing and investment in this area, I don't know if you guys see the announcement from Unilever's CEO a few days ago.
Yeah.
That is massive. Big news.
So they're going to be 20 timesing the amount of investment they're putting into influencer marketing, right?
Exactly that. Yeah.
Which is huge. So and for a brand that big, and it's the new CEO, right? I think as well. So for them to kind of say it, a brand that's probably always been quite at the forefront, that's going to also ripple down, I think, to all other brands being like, well, if Unilever are doing that, why are we not doing that?
Yeah. And I think to your point, Matt, I think this is the direction of travel, right? In terms of this is what's going to excite marketers. We've heard it from Unilever, and I suspect there will be more that will kind of follow that direction of amplifying content, working with creators. And I think this is, a sign of the kind of, direction within influencer marketing.
Yeah. Do you think that sometimes because YouTube is so like big in a way that can be intimidating? And if that's the case, what would be your advice for like how brands can start to approach YouTube and creating their own content? Like what are kind of the initial steps to getting started as a brand?
Is it an account you got to set up?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously the
picture.
basics, but like if you were thinking strategically, like, and you've got a CMO at a brand that potentially is quite a big legacy brand and they've not invested much in YouTube, and you're trying to convince them that instead of putting however millions into this next TV ad, why don't we direct this into YouTube?
Yeah.
Where would you sort of recommend they just start to think about?
I think, first of all, can definitely recognize that it's a vast ecosystem, right? You've got so many creators, so many diverse audiences, so many evolving trends on our platform. It's like, how do you keep up with it? So I think one of the first recommendations would be is always just kind of take a step back, understand what objective you're trying to achieve. I think that's, being very clear of what is the goal you're working to achieve. How are you going to be working with Goat to deliver on that marketing objective? From that point, then we've got a huge opportunity, right, around how do we create the right content for the right consumers, but then how do we amplify that? And I think that's where the paid media bit comes in.
Yeah.
What we've got is with our kind of AI-powered solutions, I'll give an example with our video reach campaigns. What we're able to do is automate the best combination of our formats to deliver reach and the most cost-effective reach to the highest possible of like unique users for that set budget.
Yeah.
That's an amazing opportunity to leverage influencer content and drive it at scale across all of the different kind of formats we've got at YouTube. So I think what we want to be doing is taking the complexity away from advertisers and using AI as a real enabler to kind of help simplify that. So I think going back to your question is it's a little bit, there's a lot of opportunity how to figure it out. And we're creating the tools and products to simplify that.
Going on to kind of media then, we've spoken a bit about shorts, but what would you say is like the biggest misconception around shorts? Because I do still feel there's sometimes a bit of a lack of understanding around them.
Because can I say before you answer, I think people assume that they're sort of a clone of these other vertical formats on unnamed other platforms. But I think the fact that they have like a link to long form content and loads of other content means it's really quite different.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we've had examples like, our shorts just repurposed from TikTok or from Reels, for example. That's definitely not the case. We're seeing that from creators. We're seeing that with brands in the way that, both sides are ultimately using shorts. I think we also get this misperception about the audience profile of shorts. And, naturally YouTube is a broad platform in terms of its usage and the audiences and demographics that turn to YouTube. That's having a natural effect on how they are integrating shorts and using shorts as well. I mentioned earlier on, my dad's been using shorts and, and that's just a good example of like, we're finding very different use cases where shorts is having an incremental impact on driving business results, which is great, and driving engagement. We're seeing really strong engagement on shorts at the moment. As it kind of goes back to that point I was making earlier on about you'll come into YouTube with an intention to watch YouTube. You're not going to be mindlessly scrolling through content. You're coming to watch content.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that kind of combination between long and short form is working really, really well for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what makes a good YouTube ad, like a paid ad, would you say?
What makes a good YouTube paid ad?
Big question.
That's a big question. I'd say, look, first of all, you want to be reflecting on YouTube's kind of creative guidelines. We have an ABCD framework, which is around the track. So that's creating the hook, highlight your brand. Yep. Hook you in, grab the brand, and then basically help the audience help them feel something. And then ask them finally to be direct, take them to an action. That's something that we kind of have a full framework. You can find that on Google, all the different kind of blog posts we've got about this. There's loads of research about our ABCD framework. I think from an influencer marketing perspective, I think you need to be making sure you're speaking to the camera, and that's something that's really important, for sure. That's a really important one. The other thing as well is just make sure you're using sound. YouTube is always on. It's always sound on. Other platforms less so. So I think that's something you need to be making sure you're really ensuring that you're also finding the balance of the brand voice and the creator voice. This is obviously something we spoke about earlier. And always have that call to action. I know that's the kind of the direct bit in the ABCD framework I just mentioned, but that is something that's really, really important.
What do you think brands should know about repurposing creator and influencer content on YouTube for paid advertising? So
for paid advertising, I think you kind of look at it in different stages. I think first of all, recognize that YouTube is a huge platform. There's a huge opportunity to reach those 2 billion logged in users on YouTube. There's huge potential there. You need to build the right strategy. That's understand your audience, understand who you're speaking to. So making sure that you've got a good understanding of that from a paid perspective. So once you get that piece of content, what's the objective? Who are you trying to speak to? And that's one of the value, opportunities you've got, is that we've got so many signals. We've got multiple platforms with billions of users, huge tons of signals that can understand interest versus intent. And, we're all showing those different signals across Google, across YouTube, across different platforms on a daily basis. And so that's an amazing opportunity from a paid perspective, is to be able to speak to consumers in the right moment, any screen, any moment, any format. That's what is a real capability. The next layer down that is on which format are you going to express that specific influencer piece of content. That's where I'll talk about AI-powered ads. I know we've spoken about this a little bit briefly already, but ultimately, how are we using AI to optimize and drive results and, drive ultimately the best of YouTube to deliver on the objective that you've set. Now, we've got different kind of advertising products that sit through the funnel, whether that be from driving awareness, consideration, or more action driven, to ultimately help deliver on that goal. So again, it depends on what that first piece is. What is the brief? Is it to drive reach? Okay, great. Let's find what the audience is. Let's find the right format to connect that with. And then lastly is measurement. What is the specific measurement framework? It's worth referencing as well, right? Is that measurement varies between platforms in our industry right now.
Yep.
The value of a view on YouTube is different than what it is on the others. And that's something that is, being aware of, is that final stage from a measurement perspective. It's making sure has the whole brief and the whole campaign delivered on the objective that you set.
Yeah.
So we've got the capabilities to do uplift studies, conversion lift, brand lift, purchase intent. There's so much we've got there, right through to more of the kind of more traditional measurement kind of formats around unique reach and frequency and measuring all of that. And then we're getting to much more of a sophisticated part of marketing now, is like MMMs and understanding ROI. And that's something that we know is a very topical return on Media mix modeling, that's correct. Yes.
Not the sweets, M&Ms.
With another M on. That is ultimately there to prove the value of influencer marketing within the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, look, when we look at Unilever and the decision they've made, I suspect they've done lots of analysis before making that decision, right? To prove that influencer marketing and the opportunities in this space creates lots of opportunity. So that's where, I guess, to your, sorry, it's the long answer to your question, Joe.
I think that's really good.
There are lots of components to think about, but ultimately it's get that objective in the right place to start with, define your audience, define the format and exactly what you're looking to achieve, and have the right measurement strategy to kind of prove it out. That's really, really key.
Yeah. And I think that's such an important point on measurement, in terms of, I know we at Goat sometimes have that issue where you might have a campaign and the objective is reach and awareness, but then afterwards it's well, we didn't get many clicks, or we didn't get many of, purchases or whatever it is. And you're but the campaign objective was for reach and awareness. So you've got to be quite clear, I think, on what it is you're trying to do with that, because actually there might be different creators, different formats, different paid ad strategies based on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. I have this conversation with different agencies at the moment, in particular around views and the value of a view on YouTube Shorts, for example. YouTube Shorts, a view is 10 seconds or an actual engagement.
Yeah.
Other platforms,
which 10 seconds is a long
time. A long time
nowadays. If you think of 10 seconds, you pausing on a video to watch.
Should we have a 10-second moment of silence?
No.
Seriously. Let's do it.
We can do it.
Makes the
point.
point.
Proves the point.
Okay.
No one's timing.
I was timing in my head.
Sorry.
Okay, ready? Go.
Seconds.
10 That's
seconds.
A YouTube short view.
That's a
view.
long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's very powerful when you literally pause like that for 10 seconds. But that's the reality that they're the standards that we hold to.
Mm-hmm.
They differ considerably across other platforms. And that's something when we're talking about measurement and different standards, where we're trying to inform others, there are different standards out there, and ensuring that you're measuring YouTube and YouTube Shorts in a representation that's fair. That's all we're asking.
Yeah.
And that's something that obviously we are speaking quite a lot on.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, to wrap up, because I think we've had a really interesting conversation all about YouTube, but what is next? Where do you think YouTube is going in 5 years? Interesting to hear from you, Matt, as well, as a big YouTube fan.
Big YouTube fan.
Where do you think the platform is going in the next 5 years, and what would kind of be your final tips for brands to try and get ahead of that?
Because it's 20th anniversary. YouTube's 20th birthday this year. So next year it can drink in America. In 5 years, it'll be 26. God, it's exciting. It's only been around for 20 years.
Yeah, that is weird.
I think we should rename BC before Christ with BY before YouTube. Personally, the world was a different place.
It was very different then.
It was a barren wasteland where if you wanted to plaster your wall, you had to hire someone in.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
But I will.
We'll start that petition. Well, where do you see, as a YouTube fan then, where do you see it going? And you're a creator.
I just see the evolution of this sort of multi-format, like you've got your shorts, which are sort of relatively feel quite new still.
Yeah.
You've got your long form, you've got these video podcasts that are really replacing late night talk shows. I think you're going to see the replacement of traditional media more and more by creators doing, this, that, and everything. You've just had the first YouTuber to climb Mount Everest, and it's a 2.5 hour, motion picture on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think when we talk about TV in 5 years, we'll go, oh, sorry, what? What was the gramophone on the TV?
Yeah.
And so I think it's just going to keep snowballing. Out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah, and I think to echo that, you're going to see so much innovation, creativity. We've spoken about AI, but I think as AI becomes much more of a part of our daily lives, we'll see that massively embraced within the creator economy, but also brands will be using it in so many different creative ways to elevate influencer content as well. From a YouTube perspective, we've actually got a very, very exciting roadmap in this space. So much more to come from us in this area. And I think also from a creator standpoint, there's so much creativity. I mean, I was just blown away by the Sidemen event the other week. I expect we'll see much more of that in terms of creators and ultimately being entrepreneurs to find much more innovative ways to connect with their audiences, continue to build on those communities as well. So exciting times ahead.
Yeah. Do you think we will see potentially the first creator-made Oscar-nominated film on YouTube in the next 5 years?
I've never even considered that, but that would be
it could happen.
Dope.
I think it could happen.
I just love this democratization of oh God, that would be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And I don't that's not so far-fetched, right?
No, I don't think so. So I guess the message for brands and brand marketers is that if you're still pondering, I would say, about, and obviously I'm not saying this for all brands, because I appreciate if you're a tiny startup brand, like you can't necessarily do everything and you maybe have to pick and choose where you focus your time. But if you're a bigger brand with budgets, if you are still thinking, should we be on YouTube? Like, should we invest in YouTube or should we be looking at it? You're kind of already pretty late to the table and you should be like really focusing on it this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much potential, right? We've spoken for a little while now about so many different vast areas of YouTube, but I think there's so much potential that can be unlocked here. And I think that's what's really exciting to me about the partnership with Goat, and also the way that we can turn up, the way that we can present and find the right creators, the way we can amplify it, the way we can kind of speak to and solve the briefs that ultimately advertisers are looking to solve for.
Yeah, amazing.
I've got some random questions now.
Oh God, okay.
You've got to start. You're a busy man with a busy job, but if you were to start a full-time YouTube channel, what would your handle be and what would your niche be? And it can't be marketing.
My niche would be Formula One.
Oh,
yeah, I am a massive F1 fan.
Really?
Yeah.
I just
genuinely.
don't get it.
Yeah, really?
No, it's cars going in a circle.
Oh.
She's gonna have a heart attack.
Sorry.
I mean, yeah. For me, I mean, I've loved Formula One from probably at the age of 5, 6. I grew up in a family that's,
really
loves cars, loves Formula One, and
they have a great YouTube channel as well.
They
don't
do,
they?
yeah. And I think we're seeing, so much content come on the back of Formula One. But that would be me.
I mean, I'm not a Formula One fan. I can appreciate it, but I watched a long YouTube video about Lewis Hamilton's first day at Ferrari. Like, I got drawn in.
Yeah.
It was great content. Not a fan, but so your handle?
Oh God, that's
My handle name.
Vroom Vroom Chris?
We'll go for that.
What was my other random question? No, that was a cancelable one.
Oh God, what?
No.
We'll edit it out.
No, it's fine.
Okay. You never know.
What personally? Do you like to kick back and watch some YouTube on the sofa?
Oh yeah.
And what kind of? Do you watch a variety of stuff, or is it kind of like?
generally it's a variety of stuff. Right now, some of the stuff me and my wife are watching, is about Canada. We are actually looking to go to Canada this summer.
To relocate?
No, just for a holiday. But we're looking to travel around. So we're looking for travel inspiration. We have a toddler. So it's like, getting inspiration from other parents. And there's so much, family vloggers and travel kind of channels out there. And for me, that right now, that's what I'm tuning into on the big screen.
Have you heard of Miss Rachel?
Most viewed video on YouTube of all time.
Oh, you've caught me on the spot here. Most viewed.
I'll give you a clue.
Shark attack.
Shark, baby shark.
Baby shark.
Baby shark.
Oh, God.
It's got like 16 billion views.
Yeah, because for a long time, it was Justin Bieber, Despacito.
Oh.
That was the top for a long time. Yeah.
I think let's end it there before Matt breaks into song. But thank you so much for joining us and talking to us all about all things YouTube. Super insightful, really interesting. And I'm very excited to see where it goes in the next few years.
Yeah, thanks for having us.